Hey there, my name is Brian Navarro from Navarro Athletics, and today we're going to be going over the Goblet Squat, and we're going to be covering why you should be incorporating this in your training program, the proper form and technique to actually execute this exercise with, and regressions and progressions you might need depending on your fitness level. Alright, so one reason why it's good to have the Goblet Squat incorporated into your program is because it exercises the upper and lower body simultaneously. And what that entails is by holding a weight or load up here, like a front-loaded squat, literally, goblet front-loaded squat, similar, just not holding a bar. We're actually using our shoulders and our upper body and our core, you know, the entire musculature around our torso, front, side, back, especially the back along the spinal column, to help support this weight and this load throughout that lowering and ascension throughout this goblet squat. And what that means is you're working more muscles within one exercise, which makes it a great, efficient way to get more, you know, not just fat burning and calorie burning, but just more out of your workouts in general, so you can just feel overall like you've had a holistic, just full body exercise. So yeah, I'll go ahead and demonstrate just like body weight, no modalities, and then we'll go ahead into the exercise. All right, so from the side view, pretty much similar to the third world squat and the hip hinges we were referring to before. We're just going to have our feet about hips width apart, neutral neck, neutral spine. Here I'm going to have my hands either within a goblet hold like this, you can kind of see the shape of it, or just palms together, kind of like a yoga stance. And we're just literally going down into that squat. And remember, we want to maintain that full range of motion as low as possible, ideally. Again, if you haven't trained within that lower degree of motion, I just recommend doing body weight form and light weight before you actually put a lot more weight down there. Again, that's when we get into the butt winking. We didn't really talk about that before. But that's just really talking about the disengagement that happens at the lower part of this movement, and you can kind of see how the hip turns down there. If you're not conscious of that mechanic happening during the lift, and you're just kind of not thinking about maintaining proper, you know, integrity throughout the entire back, that could cause some lower back issues, herniated discs, slip discs, especially from that ascension, right from that bottom lowering point. So that's another reason why the goblet squat is really good, is because it also exercises your back as well as your legs and quads and your glutes, but your back is going to be important while getting into heavier lifts, getting into heavier deadlifts, squats, lunges, even sports where you're going to have to maintain a postural position or even a weight, or even just sitting at a desk all day or working or whatever. It's going to be perfect to maintain that back strength and health, which is really a crux in a lot of people's longevity in terms of training or just work in general. And I've had my back give out a couple times. I definitely deadlifted a little too much, too frequently than I should have. And I paid the price like on some jobs when I was like a chef and other stuff. I could definitely feel my back give. And you don't want that to happen. It's not fun. It means you can't work, you can't make money, you can't have fun, you can't do anything. You don't want to be taking all those pain meds and going around in circles and having to deal with this crap. So let's go ahead and strengthen your whole body, starting with your back and your legs with this beautiful move, the goblet squat. All right, so I'm just gonna grab this kettlebell first. We'll go into the dumbbell, and I'll probably grab a medicine ball just to show you real quick. But like anything else, again, whenever we're lifting a heavy weight from the ground, ideally keeping it close to the center of mass within your body. Usually for guys, it's around the belly button. Girls, a little lower, like belly button, hips, around there, midsection as well. But we're just talking about not having the weight too far forward or too far back. Okay, descending down, nice proper form, flat back, neutral neck, using the legs and the glutes, not necessarily our entire back and shoulders to do the lift, and bam, we're up here. So that was somewhat of a sumo deadlift, and I'll go ahead and show that again in this direction here, front waist. So you can see how I lowered that as well, nice and controlled. But again, flat back, neutral neck, using our legs to lift that up. Cool. So this weight is about 40 pounds. It's easy enough for me. So there's a couple ways you can hold the dumbbell, the kettlebell. You could hold it by the horns right here. Some people hold it by the bell itself. Sometimes what I like to do, it might be considered cheating, but I like to rest the handles on my chest a little bit while I actually hold the bell itself. It just feels a little bit more secure right there. It probably uses a little less muscle in the upper body to hold it over the entire exercise, but I just feel that it's good enough. And again, we're trying to be safe and secure. That way we can continue training tomorrow and the next day without getting injured and all that. You know, we don't want that to happen. All right, so I'll go ahead and just go through about 10 with the kettlebell, and then I'll go ahead and demonstrate the other modalities here. All right. So again, going down, trying to get the top of those quadriceps parallel to the floor. Nice and controlled breathing. Again, breathing through the diaphragm. We'll go ahead and talk about alligator breathing again after this. I already lost count, but I think this is 5 or 6. We'll call it 5. And again, just using a weight that will get you tired for the last 3 to 4 reps there to really push through and stimulate that muscle to adapt and grow and become stronger. All right, so that was about 10. And I'll go ahead and do sideways. I'll go ahead and hold it by the horns for sideways here. And sometimes you might just have to move your elbows or your feet around, because you can see right here. And I'll go ahead and rotate forward. You can see my elbows are going inside my knees. That way I can actually hit the depth of that squat. Or if I was holding it this way, similar thing, inside the knees. It's just easier rather than trying to go elbows outside the knees. It becomes a little bit too much of a shoulder exercise. And we're focusing more on our back strength, our glute strength, and our quad strength through this exercise. Keeping that flat contact with the feet. Again, heels aren't coming up. Using your toes as pillars, full contact with the ground. All right, and I'll show you the dumbbell. All right, and you can see how I held that, pretty much like a goblet. Again, this weight's also about 44 pounds. I suggest finding the weight again. Start with something around 60 to 70% of your maximum rep capacity. If you don't know what that means just like doing, all you can do is 1 rep and that's it within the exercise before failing or falling over or dropping the weight. Yeah, just keep that consistent. And then in terms of regressions and progressions for the exercise of the goblet squat, I would just say you want to just reduce the weight. Again, just use your body weight, do higher reps, 20 to 30 reps. And then when you feel comfortable within that exercise, go ahead and just add some weight and load to that. In order to progress or accelerate, go ahead and just add more weight. You might have to reduce the amount of reps, which is totally fine. Again, you're putting more force over time within a heavier weight in that movement, so it's totally acceptable. And you might even try time under tension. And what I'm talking about by time under tension is instead of just adding weight or reps, what we'll do is we'll slow down the movement or speed it up. So we'll go ahead and go sideways view, that way you can get a better view here. But what I'm talking about is, how about instead of just 2 seconds down, let's take about 4 seconds down. Let's stay at the bottom for about 2 seconds and explode up as fast as we can, all right? So 1 Mississippi, 2, 3, 4, down here for 1, 2, and explode. So what that is doing is it's actually slowly getting that eccentric movement and stretch within the muscle, and we're carrying a load at the bottom with no movement, no elastic recoil in our muscle whatsoever. So that's actually causing us to have to use all our muscles' natural concentric action or shortening action to shoot our body up without any assistance within that lowering part of the movement. So you'll see some people either benching and bouncing things off their chest or kind of moving quickly through that squat, and all that's really doing is assisting their body, making it easier. Yes, there are times to do this. Plyometrics is a great example in terms of quickly firing muscles in succession over a short amount of time or even extended periods of time. But in terms of just getting into the biomechanics of this movement and trying to feel it out through your body correctly and make sure those knees and those joints can take the load before you start going faster, time under tension is a great method of training to incorporate within this lift as well as many others. But yeah, that's the goblet squat. So thank you very much for watching that. Please let me know if this helped you out at all with the goblet squat, if there's anything you need more clarification on, or if there are perhaps any other types of squatting exercises or questions you might have, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But yes, don't forget to like this video and share with anybody, your friends or whatever thinks might actually like this and help them work out. All right, my name is Brian Navarro, and thank you for watching.